A new study published in the journal Science Advances says that we're currently in the middle of a mass extinction event, the likes of which have not been seen on Earth for at least 65 million years. This research was designed to determine how human actions over the last 500 years have affected the extinction rates of vertebrates, mammals, fish, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. It found a clear signal of elevated species loss, which has noticeably accelerated over the last couple hundred years, such that life on Earth is embarking on its sixth greatest extinction event in the 3.5 billion year history. So, one of the important things when talking about extinction, or really when talking about anything, even climate change, whatever, is that we need to be able to compare what is going on now to the sort of historical underlying or background level of extinction. And something that the anti-science crowd will often say when we talk about extinction is they'll say, species have been going extinct for a long, long time. What information do you have that suggests that it is any worse now, or that human activities on Earth have anything to do with it? This study looks at exactly that issue, and they have now established what's being called the baseline extinction rate, baseline extinction data that we can compare to. And even with a conservative estimate of the current extinction rates now are much, much higher than what is now being called the background or natural rate of extinction. This started to happen noticeably during the mid-1800s. And you may wonder, well, to what extent does this matter, right? Why should we worry if the natural process of extinction is amplified by humans or expanding because of our industrialized civilization? Well, one answer to that points out that we are talking here about an ecosystem that depends on many factors, including species that pollinate crops, species that purify water, species that provide fish food, fibers to weave. Biodiversity as a broad thing, Lewis, is very carefully calibrated. And when we talk about an impact placed on our planet by humans that over the last 200 years is orders of magnitude greater than in all the history of this planet, that's a concern.
Yes, and the biggest concern, of course, there's a balance, and the biggest concern is that the food chain will essentially collapse. And if that happens, well, then we might be in trouble. So that is one of the major concerns here. But how do we stop this? It seems like as we continue to industrialize and make things worse, this is going to get worse.
It certainly seems that way. And some other people who are anti-science will say, we don't really even understand the full extent of this interdependent biodiversity situation. Yeah, that's why we shouldn't be messing with it, because we don't yet know what the tipping point will be. A good analogy I read is, think about how an airplane's wing is riveted to the fuselage of the plane. You could take one rivet out and there would be no noticeable change in the stability of that wing's connection to the plane. You can take another rivet out, the plane might still fly fine, but at a certain point, just one rivet will be the difference between that wing staying on the plane and that wing falling off of the plane. And the problem is, engineers could probably figure out exactly how many rivets it will take minimum. We don't actually know what the tipping point is here.
Yes, it seems like the two sides of the argument, when it comes to climate change and this and many scientific matters. One side says, well, we just don't know, so let's not make any assumptions or do anything preventive.
Right.
And the other side says, no, it's probably a lot safer to assume that we might be having an effect here and we should try to stabilize here before things get too bad. I think the audience knows which side we are on.
Yeah, no question about it. And hey, maybe your view is, in the long term, we're all dead anyway, so why worry about this? I mean, our sun is not going to burn and heat the planet forever, right? I mean, why even worry about any of this stuff? Let's bring on the destruction. And some religious nuts actually welcome that.
Yes, some people are very much looking forward to the rapture and anything they might be able to point to that might be the oncoming rapture. So maybe this is it. Maybe they're excited.